Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you do enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So on the agenda tonight we have Richard Smith, and this is going to be coming from July 2018, and Richard is going to be playing through The Entertainer. So let's get him up on screen and see how he gets on.
Going on the notes that you know. Oh.
I'm just going to jump in here because there is so much technical ability going on here from Richard, but what I love the most is the amount of expression that he gets into all of that technical ability, because sometimes you'll get players that just work out a piece and they just play it almost flat, so there's no expression to it, but it is technically advanced and it is technically impressive. Pairing that top technical ability with the expression and putting the dynamics in there as well, that's what the top players can do. And of course Richard is a top player. He was actually the national fingerstyle guitar champion in 2001, so he is one of the best of the best. And by the way, we've got Tommy Emmanuel who's actually watching on here. You'll see him pop into screen now and again. He's absolutely getting into it. Tommy's a top player in his own right, so it gives you an idea of the ability that Richard has when a guy like Tommy is just sitting in awe. And this really is just a standalone clinic in running bass lines and hammer-ons and pull-offs and expression and dynamics and just working your way around the fretboard absolutely seamlessly and making it look really easy, by the way. And Tommy is one of those guys that practices between 8 and 10 hours a day. That's what I've heard him say in the past. And looking at a guy like Richard, when you've got a guy like Tommy who practices so much, to look at another guy, you can only imagine the level that Richard is in terms of his ability, his technical ability, and the amount of hours he must put into practice. And Richard started playing the guitar at age 5, so he did start early, but really influenced by Merle Travis and Jerry Reed and Chet Atkins, those fingerstyle legends. And at the age of 11, he actually shared the stage with Chet Atkins. So it gives you an idea that over those 6 years that he started at age 5 to 11, he had worked so hard and practiced so much in order to then hold your own on a stage with the likes of Chet Atkins. And even if you don't play guitar, if you do play guitar, obviously it's going to hit you at a different level because you can see the technique and appreciate the techniques that are going on. But even if you don't play guitar, you can appreciate the sound, the music, the art that he's actually making. It just turns into music coming out the fretboard. That's exactly what Richards is doing, and that's exactly why Tommy can just enjoy this as a piece of music, because he's not seeing and he's not dissecting all the techniques. But let's get into it a little bit more. think Tommy there is just saying we're not worthy because it is so well played. He's playing it as if it's nothing, like he's just playing a D chord or an A chord or a G chord, because he's so relaxed with it. He's got it down to such a high level that he's playing it almost subconsciously, so he can look around and smile and get it down with all that expression and put that expression into it. But it is so difficult. Some of the changes that are going on there, Tommy would occasionally point at the technical elements that are difficult, well, ridiculously difficult to get down, but Richard just absolutely throws in there like second nature. And a guy like Tommy, he will know the tough parts of this track, and eventually he just ends up laughing because it is so well put together and executed. Another thing to look out for is the way that thumb, he's wearing the thumb pick there, it's just constantly jumping, just skipping that running bass line that we have throughout the whole piece, just skipping between that E string, skipping over to the D string and then the A string, sometimes skipping over to the G as well. It's always on the move. That running bass line is always going to be there, but that lead at the top of the guitar is going to make it sound like the song. And there's so much great playing in there, so many techniques. It would take years to try and break that down and explain what's going on. And this, of course, acoustic electric nylon strings here as well, nowhere to hide if there are going to be any mistakes or any bum notes. Of course, that's never going to happen with Richard because he's such a great player, but so consistent as well. And the guitar that Richard is playing is actually his own signature model, and that's made by Kirksand Guitars, and it's just called the Richard Smith model. So if you're looking for a guitar, nylon stringed here, so it is acoustic electric nylon stringed, so it is set up for that. And he does use D'Addario strings and accessories if you wanted to know that as well. And I love the relaxed nature of this performance, just sitting down, chilling out and playing some absolutely top level guitar. This was actually at the Chet Atkins convention in 2018, so that's why everyone sat down. It's not your normal kind of gig, but that's what makes it a little bit more special. People might not know Richard Smith. He's not a household name. He's not one of those guys that everybody knows around the world, but it's a common saying that some of the best guitarists in the world are probably not on the big stages. They're just on their front porch, just playing, jamming. And that's very much the case most of the time. You can find some amazing players that you've never ever heard of. Richard is one of those guys that's absolutely, well, world champion at doing what he does, playing fingerstyle. So a great player if you are into fingerstyle playing. And this is what happens when you get a real top player like Richard just playing an acoustic guitar. The people watching it, the crowd, just absolutely fall silent. There's no massive amplification here that's needed because everybody is absolutely listening intently to every single fretted note and every tiny piece of expression that Richard is putting into his playing. And of course, this is at the Chet Atkins convention, so this audience absolutely know fingerstyle inside out, so they know talent and ability when they see it. The other thing is the sound that we get from Richard's guitar. Such a crisp, clean, concise sound. And that's not always the case with these kind of videos. So a great job done on the sound side of things. I can't see whether he was actually plugged in or whether that was a mic that might have been on a boom stand or something picking up this guitar sound. But it's a really great sound, so clear. But a great video, this one. Thanks for suggesting this one for me to take a look at. And keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!